As the cliche goes, April showers bring May flowers. But usually what comes after is the heat and dryness of summer. Hello again, Essay here. And before the hot weather of the holiday shows up, you should indulge in my new short story, The White Cat, a free exclusive on Substack. The links are down below in description. Join Margot Thompson, a beautiful stage actress and recent widow who finds salvation in the form of a white cat during a night of terror. While checking out my oddball thriller, remember that my Glitch series is still available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The links are down below in the description. While you'll find my peculiar story about a white pussy entertaining, that doesn't mean I'm out of ideas. I still have more stories coming down the pike, so as long as I don't run into any mishaps, you'll see those stories as well. Now let's get back to the video.
Let the woman go. You are under arrest.
You gotta back up, pal! Because he's gonna kill her! He's gonna kill her! I got this bitch! He's gonna kill her, man! I got this bitch! He's gonna kill her!
Your move, creep.
It's okay! I'm so scared. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam, you have suffered an emotional shock. I will notify a rape crisis center.
Hello again, Essay here. Long ago, someone once said that rape is probably one of the worst things you can do to someone. It's right up there with murder. And I abide by that statement. And indeed, sexual assault has been around nearly as long as humans have, even though the records are kind of scant. Indeed, one of probably the earliest recorded incidents of rape was the incident involving Lucretia. And you say, who the hell was that? Well, according to the history books, she was this Roman woman, and according to the history books, she was raped by some character, Sextus Tarquinius. My Latin's not very good, but yeah, he was the son of the Roman king at the time, and he thought he got away with it until he didn't. No, according to the history books, that incident, which resulted in Lucretia committing suicide afterwards, resulted in a revolt that overthrew the Roman monarchy. You say, okay, the guy got what he deserved. And indeed, according to the history books, the Romans, as well as the ancient Greeks, they had very strict rules against sexual assault. Indeed, it was a capital offense, along with treason, murder, and a few other naughty things. And when you go throughout history, sexual assault punishment could be quite brutal indeed. Indeed, in medieval Europe, there were several instances where if someone was accused of a rape, usually he rarely, stood trial. No, because usually the male family members of the poor woman usually track down the clown and basically, give him what he deserved. And indeed, there was one particular incident that's well documented. Happened in I think it was 14th century. In fact, I think Ridley Scott made a film about it. It was an incident that happened in the 14th century involving a couple of French guys. Yeah, they were a couple of knights. I think one guy name was Jean. I think his name was Cargu. I'm probably totally butchering the name. And the fella he accused was this guy named Legris. Thing is, they basically, according to the history books, it was the last trial by combat ever to happen in France. And to this day, there's been controversy over whether the rape actually occurred. Because Jean's wife accused this guy Legilles of raping her. And let's just say there's no one did a rape kit, so they couldn't say for certain if the rape actually occurred. So there you go. But the husband was hopping mad, and they basically duked it out with swords. And this Legilles guy, he lost the argument. So there you go. And indeed, there was an incident that happened more recently. Happened in Italy back in the 1960s. In fact, I remember hearing about it because I remember seeing a docudrama on it. Yeah, where this woman in southern Italy, she had been kidnapped by an ex-boyfriend, and he kidnapped her and held her and for about a week, raping her repeatedly, and then afterwards, he was trying to force her to marry him. And you say, wait, what? Yeah. Yeah, because these people, these were people who lived in rural Italy, and they were kind of old school about stuff like that. And the family basically wanted her to go along with it to, protect the family honor. And the woman said, no way, Jose. So she actually went to the cops in the courts, and she actually got the guy arrested, and actually got the guy prosecuted. And according to the history books, that was the first time it ever happened in Italian history. And you say, wait, what? Yeah, I thought that was surprising. I remember reading the story. I said, you mean before this incident, every woman that had been raped in Italy, they were forced to marry their rapist? I mean, what kind of goddamn outfit you got running down there, Italy? And indeed, wait for it, they actually made that story into a movie. Cause that's why I first heard about it. It was with that, it was called, The Most Beautiful Wife. I actually liked the film, was pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, with that, Ormelta Muni. You probably don't remember her. She was playing Mean the Merciless's daughter in Flash Gordon, which is also a pretty good film, but don't want to digress. But anyway, this video is not really about the history of sexual assault. No, it's about one particular incident that happened in Germany recently. And you say, well, who cares? Well, no, Paul Joseph Watson, he's got the receipts on this case. And believe me, this will just boil your blood. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
The original story of what happened is shocking enough, but wait until you hear about what transpired in its aftermath. A 15-year-old girl walking alone in a park in Hamburg was set upon by a mob of 4 predators who proceeded to take turns gang raping her for hours, before stealing her wallet and cell phone. But that wasn't the end of it. Traumatised, confused and vulnerable, and with no means to call for help, the girl was then approached by 2 other youths who committed the same unspeakable act. Behaving like a pack of crazed hyenas with wounded prey, the young men then began texting their friends, inviting them via chat groups to rape her too, bragging that she was an easy target because there were no potential witnesses. Dragged into a bush, the girl was attacked by another youth, and then again by 3 more. All of this was being filmed on their phones. Eventually she was able to break free and run away, still being pursued by a rapist. And only when she ran into some people who recognised she was in a horrendous state were the police called. 11 suspects in total were charged, 2 immediately being acquitted due to lack of DNA evidence. And you'll be shocked to learn that despite this happening in Germany's second largest city, of the 9 remaining suspects who were charged, none of them were native Germans. ProPublica.com reports 5 of the men were in possession of a German passport, while the remainder were not citizens of Germany. Among those charged, none were of German heritage. The rapists were identified as a Pole, an Egyptian, a Libyan, a Kuwaiti, an Iranian, an Armenian, an Afghan, Syrian and a Montenegrin. The men had a team of 20 defence attorneys arguing their innocence. But it gets worse. After a 68-day trial involving 96 witnesses, despite semen from all 9 suspects being found on the girl's clothing, and despite all of them being found guilty and convicted, only one served actual prison time, a 19-year-old Iranian who got less than 3 years juvenile detention. The rest of them, all of whom were older, were given probation and were free to walk the streets that same day. This despite a total lack of remorse shown by the perpetrators, including one who fell asleep in court. The Iranian saying, "What man doesn't want that?" and the migrants' lawyers obscenely arguing that the men were operating with high testosterone levels, as if that was a justifiable excuse. The whole case was a revolting travesty of justice, and we've seen lenient sentences given in similar cases all across Europe. But what happened next will repulse you almost as much as the incident itself. 8 out of the 9 individuals who gang raped this poor girl are spared prison. One gets a meagre 2 years 8 months in juvie. Now guess what happened to the people who made offensive comments towards the gang rapists? This is Germany 2024. So you probably know where it's going. So a phone number belonging to one of the convicted rapists is leaked by outraged Germans. He then begins to receive WhatsApp messages, including one from a 20-year-old woman who called him a dishonourable rapist pig and a disgusting freak. Yeah, where's the lie? Aren't you ashamed when you look in the mirror, she asks him. The convicted gang rapist then reports her to the police, and she's charged with sending insulting messages, is forced to apologise in court, convicted, and then spends the weekend in prison. Let me spell this out clear as day. Germans who said mean things about the gang rapists are getting more time in prison than almost all of the gang rapists. People who posted offensive comments online because they were angry about what happened are being treated more harshly by the state than the cretins who carried out this unspeakable act in the first place. In fact, authorities in Hamburg are reportedly investigating 140 people for offences related to issuing insult, threats or other detriment towards the Standport predators. Remember when they used to say political correctness is just being nice to people? Apparently that includes predatory nonces, who if you insult them you could go to jail. The outcome was so disturbing it reverberated far outside of Germany, with Elon Musk remarking, "Wow, this is messed up." According to data obtained from the German Federal Ministry of Justice, of the 44,232 prisoners in Germany, 24,259 are foreigners, over 50%. Only last month, Marie-Therese Kaiser was convicted for inciting hatred against Afghan migrants by posting government statistics showing Afghans were overrepresented in gang rapes and asking whether Germany was a quote welcoming culture for gang rape. She was actually responding to the mayor of Hamburg where the gang rape of the 15-year-old happened after he announced a new program that would bring 200 Afghan workers to the city. Over half of gang rapes committed in Germany in 2022 were carried out by foreign migrants who make up 14% of the population. The other half had German passports, although a significant number of them would also have had a migration background. Gang rapes have also soared in Germany by 50% since 2017. If you're in Germany, be careful talking about it though, because you might end up being thrown in prison after the actual predators report you to the police for hurting their feelings.
All right, you saw that. Now, at this point, you're probably asking yourself, what the hell happened in Germany? Personally, I don't know either. Because I'm pretty certain if you had a gang rape that happened anywhere in the 50 states of the United States, I seriously doubt they would have basically cut loose all the rapists. Oh, except for one. And then give that guy a light sentence. Because you probably don't remember the Wilding incident that happened, I think it goes around 1990. I remember it. Where some woman was jogging in Central Park in the middle of the night. And of course, then at this point, you say, what the hell is she doing jogging in Central Park in the middle of the night? I know. You don't have to ask me that question. I wondered that question myself. But anyway, she got jumped. And unfortunately, because it was dark, she didn't see the guy's face. And like I said, this is a famous criminal case. She got beaten within an inch of her life, and she was sexually assaulted. And then only by some miracle she survived. But then she couldn't identify who did it to her. And then you say, didn't they have DNA? Technically no. This was, like I said, this was around the end of the 1980s. Around 1990. DNA technically wasn't a thing yet. But wait for it. You ready? Around the same time this rape occurred, 5 brown people from Harlem happened to have been caught in the general neighborhood, basically acting a fool in the street. We're talking running around, acting a fool, graffitiing, and breaking windows, just basically causing a nuisance. In fact, they referred to what they were doing was wilding. And anyway, the detectives who were investigating the rape case thought maybe these knuckleheads had something to do with it, so they asked them. And like a bunch of knuckleheads, they actually copped to the rape. Now, of course, this is where things get sticky, because according to the criminal case, these guys, they claimed that they didn't know what they were copping to. And I'm thinking, excuse me, the NYP detectives asked you, did you rape some woman in a damn Central Park? And you guys said, yeah. I mean, which part of that is like above a fourth grade education to understand? Okay? Are we clear? And then they tried to claim they were tortured, even though there was no sign of being tortured. But anyway, they had a quick trial and a quicker hanging, metaphorically. Yeah, they all got life sentences. But then, after, I think it was about at least well over a decade, I think it was like 15 years later, the Innocence Project picked up their case. And by this time, they did finally have DNA, So they did a rape kit, and they ran the DNA. And guess what? The DNA didn't match any of the guys. And at this point, you say, well, why the hell they cop to raping this woman? Nobody fucking knows. It's stupid. But anyway, they went to a judge, and the judge said, yeah, let them go. And then the state of New York had to pay out, these guys, and they paid them a little stipend and sent them on their way. And in the meantime, wait for it, you ready? The guy who actually did the rape, he actually got arrested not long after these guys on a different rape of a different woman. And he was actually in Attica with some of these guys at the same time. And then sure enough, since this clown who was the actual rapist, and he was a Puerto Rican guy from what I recall, when they ran the DNA and they found out this guy was already in the system, they went up to the damn prison and they said, hey, we got your DNA on this damn old rape case. And the guy copped to it. He said, yeah, I did it, so what? Fuck it. But what was going on here in Germany, I just don't get. I mean, because if you remember from Watson's video, they had DNA, and they could show that most of the guys were there, even though they lied and they said, "Oh, we don't know this one. We weren't there and whatnot." Even though the German police had these guys cold. They had DNA on the woman. They had the woman's phone. They stole her phone, and they still had her phone when they caught him. I mean, these people tell these knuckleheads that these modern phones got GPS in, they could track the phone. Guess not. But apparently the whole damn case went off the rails because it turned out these guys weren't even German. And you say, wait, what? Yeah, because you saw in Watson's video, these guys were from Hill and Dale and points in between, but none of them were from Dusseldorf. Yeah. And to make matters worse, they weren't even in the country legally. So there you go. But yeah, that case makes no sense to me at all. And then, of course, the part that really burned people's, britches was what happened afterwards. And I think you saw that in Watson's video. When someone managed to get the phone number of one of the clowns who got cut loose and was basically harassing the guy. Now, me personally, I think the guy deserved a lot more than just someone prank calling them. But this clown had the nerve to go to the German police and then had the person harassing them arrested. I mean, like, wait, what? Are you fucking kidding me? And then that person, unlike the rapist, that person is actually tried and convicted. Now, at this point, you say, yeah, what the hell's happened in Germany? It reminds me of something I remember once that Gilbert and Sullivan once said, where they said, welcome to the world of topsy-turvy, talking about their stage plays. And I think, yeah, apparently the laws in Germany have gone topsy-turvy, where the criminal is the victim and the victim is the criminal. And that apparently you can do a rape, and as long as you're not an actual ethnic German and you're with, they use the phrase, a marginalized group, i.e. illegal aliens from some third world country, yeah, you can get away with a grade A felony. No joke. But lucky in our zip code, that doesn't happen. Because could you imagine that we had two recent high-profile rape cases here in the United States. One involving some blonde lady who got raped on the damn on some jogging trail in Maryland. And turned out there was an illegal alien from Venezuela, a gangbanger no less. Well, guess what? They're not letting him go. And, wait for it, they have another case that just happened down there in Texas, where they had two doofuses from El Salvador who grabbed a little 12-year-old kid. Yeah. And of course, according to the criminal case, the kid had snuck out of the house in the middle of the night. And of course, at this point, you said, what the hell is she thinking out of the house in the middle of the night? Yeah, I know. My thoughts exactly. But that doesn't give those two nuggetheads an excuse to kidnap this girl. And that's what they did. They kidnapped her. Indeed, they have security cam footage showing the girl basically being chased by these guys. And apparently they got a hold of her, dragged her to underneath a bridge somewhere. They raped her repeatedly, then they strangled her, and then they left her body there for the ants and cockroaches. And now they're looking to give them the death penalty. You know what? They deserve it. Now, of course, they don't have the death penalty in Germany. But, like I said, I don't know what the hell's going on in Germany, but that rape case, that's just wrong. I mean, there's no way to explain it. That's just plain wrong. Well, that's all I got to say about the bullshit in Germany. That's my opinion.